Hello everyone, my name is Tara and welcome to Aligning to Love. In this channel I aim to spread hope, joy, peace, and love to the world by sharing goodness and love within my life. In this video I want to give my personal and family life updates and events and the signs that I saw along the way. And so I also want to acknowledge that I am I don't know whether I'm sick or if I have allergies or if it's just the stress from the move and my immune system is down, but I feel very congested and my head feels full, and I don't edit my videos, so I'm sorry if I sniff, because I want to just push through and get my updates done because it's our last night in this apartment. And so if you're somebody that can't stand listening to somebody who is sick or having to sniff or cough or sneeze, I'm going to do my best not to. But I no promises that I can do it fully. I had to end the previous video early because I felt something coming on, whether it was a sneeze or a cough or something else. And so bear with me, and I hope that you can still take away happiness or joy or peace from the stories I want to tell. And I love sharing my moments that are meaningful because I feel like when you share stories, it's meaningful for you because you experienced it, but I feel like other people can find wisdom and find inspiration in stories just by listening, and then it connects to their life because they think about those things and they see if it happens in their life or how they can connect to it in a way that you might have not thought before. So hopefully you can take something away from all of the stories that I post in this channel. And so I left off on July 24th, which was a Thursday. I had went to the dentist. It was a pretty low-key day. My husband had come home the night before because he only had one day off, and so he got out of work Wednesday. He drove an hour and a half to come see us. We packed up a lot of our kitchen and closets and lots of closet spaces within bedrooms and the linen closet, and so packed his car up. And then on Thursday, after I came back from the dentist, he headed back out because he'd have to work on Friday. And so on our Friday, on that 25th, it was a pretty low-key day for me and Juniper. We had just a really peaceful breakfast, a lunch. We were listening to a lot of Disney songs and a lot of Broadway musicals, as well as just like going back to nostalgic 90s and 2000s hits that I grew up with. And it was just, I love listening to music and singing along with her and showing her some songs that were really important to me and having her hear those beats and the rhythms, and just seeing her little body dance and move to them and clap. And so that it was a really low-key day on Friday. And I mean, every time that I would give her a snack or every time I would go in to, I don't know, change the laundry and look at the time, I'd see the angel numbers, whether they were 1010, 1111, 222. And like I said, I think I've said it in previous videos that I've all done tonight, we well, with this move I've been constantly seeing angel numbers, which makes me feel like I'm on the right path and that my family moving to this new location is going to be a fantastic new experience for all of us, and going to bring more opportunities, and it's just going to be a whole new chapter of our life. And so I cannot wait. I mean, part of me is sad to leave this apartment, but at the same time I cannot wait to get into my parents' house, because they're very generously offering us to stay there for the month before we can get into our new house. And either way, we're on ground level. So if you haven't seen previous videos, my family is on the third floor. So it's been hard, and we don't have outside space. We don't have a yard or a porch even to get fresh air. And so when we're at my parents', they have a nice porch, they have a yard, and when we get into our house, we'll have a nice porch and a nice backyard and a grill. And so it is just going to be, it's going to be so nice. We just have all of these transitions to go through before we get there. Um, and so on July 26th, which was a Saturday, um, oh, so when my husband came on Wednesday night, which was the 23rd, we were so busy with our dentist appointment and making sure that Juniper had time to run around in the park that we always go to while he was home, so we had family time, that we didn't get a grocery shopping um, just time to grocery shop in. And so we were running pretty slim on food. And so on that Friday, the 25th, I ended up going to the co-op with Juniper later in the night. And it was pretty late. It was 7 o'clock. And so there was this beautiful, beautiful sunset happening with a really pink sky. And in order to get home on the highway road that we were driving, we crossed this really long bridge that is like a gap from a mountain to a mountain, and you get to see like the whole like horizon with the houses that are in the distance, but also the mountain ranges, and it's so beautiful. And that's one of the scenery that I will miss a lot on the drive home when you come that way from the highway. And just seeing the pink sky and that sunset was so beautiful. And that was definitely one of the highlights of that Friday night. And then, so Saturday, it really made going to the co-op that night really made Saturday morning so much more enjoyable because we had so many more options to eat. We had fruit and yogurt and just lots of things that she'll eat during the day and that we had access to without having to make a big trip down the 3 flights of stairs and into the car and out of the car, into the cart, getting the things, loading the car, and then getting back up to the apartment. So it really is, for me, being home alone with her and making sure that we have everything we need. It's a lot. And so I have a whole new level of appreciation and just awe and inspiration from parents and families who are alone and are doing it all themselves, which is like, I always thought it was impressive, and I always thought it was just incredible that they had the bandwidth to be able to do that. But now I'm just like, knowing like, for me, I've only had to do it for 3.5 weeks, and for some families it's their entire life, and I don't know how they constantly get up each day and just continue to, because like, I feel like this month I've loved having every moment with my daughter, and getting all of the quality time that I feel like I've missed when I was in my school year. And I love my colleagues and I love my students and the families, but a piece of me always felt so guilty because I felt like I was spending so much more time with the people in the community than I did my own daughter. And so I have like soaked up every moment with her in this last month, and I can feel that our bond has gotten stronger because of it. But it is definitely a lot more work, and especially I think it feels like more work also because I'm so short. And my daughter, she's getting bigger and bigger and heavier, and I'm not even, I'm close to 5 foot tall. And so for me, lugging her down flights of stairs and then also carrying groceries and carrying other things that we need, it's I am definitely feeling like my muscles are getting better too. And so that's been good. um, but but Saturday was really fun, and we listened to a bunch of Disney songs, and one of them was songs from the new movie Mufasa, which was a prequel to The Lion King. And I have never really loved when directors do either prequels or sequels, because I never think they're as good as the original. But I have to say, a lot of the recent ones that are prequels or sequels to movies, I've really enjoyed. And I wasn't planning on liking the new movie for Mufasa, but I absolutely love it, and I love the songs. Um, I don't know if I'm saying the right names to them, but the I Always Wanted a Brother, and then the other song that Rafiki sings, what was that song called? It was We Go Together. And then what is the love song that Sarabi and Mufasa sing? I can't remember what the love song was. I think it's Say It Again, or I can't remember what it is, but it's beautiful. And those are my favorite three songs from the movie, and I would play them a lot, and also just like a bunch of other Disney and classics. Like I love Pete's Dragon, the one that was way old, and I play that song, and my daughter, loves the song "It's Not Easy." And that was one of my favorite songs when I was a kid. So it's just been really fun having her listen to songs that I grew up with and I loved. And I have a variety of different genres that I love. I also love the song Three Little Birds, and or maybe it's not called. Yeah, I think it is, by Bob Marley. And then I just have a whole different spectrum of artists and songs that I love, and so it's been really fun to have music. I always have music playing, and when I was growing up, my mom always had music playing too, and it just made for the best memories. Even if you're doing something so boring like folding laundry or vacuuming or any tedious task, having music on in the background just somehow makes it so much more fun and meaningful while you're singing and dancing with each other. And so I just loved that. So that's basically what my Saturday was on the 26th. And then on Sunday, I was getting a little stressed because the next day on Monday would be the big day that we were trying to get. My mom and my dad and my brother were again generously coming to help us, and they were bringing their cars, so hopefully that this would have been the last um, load of packing everything up and going back an hour and a half and unloading it. And so I felt like, and being with my daughter, I felt like so much of my time was like I should have been packing, but at the same time I felt so guilty not being like present and attentive to her needs. And it's I don't know, I just feel like when you have children, I don't know whether it's the teacher side of me, that you're supposed to be engaging and you're supposed to be um, and for me, eye contact is so important. I don't know what what area of my life that comes from, whether it's being a teacher or just a mom, or just like it's just a weird thing that I have as a person. But I really think that eye contact is so important for everyone, no matter whether you're a baby or an adult. And I just really try to give my daughter a lot of eye contact and just show her that even if she's just sitting and putting a puzzle together, that I'm watching her and that I'm seeing her progress and that I'm supporting her along the way. And same with reading books or other things. And so I probably should have been packing up a lot more than I did, but I really did put myself in high gear on that 27th, on that Sunday, because I I ended up taking a lot of things out of every closet, so it kind of looked like a bomb went off in our apartment, but it made me feel like I was accomplishing something by making sure I could see everything that we had left. The only problem was when Monday came around, on Monday, the 28th of July, I didn't get as much packed as I had intended. And so, luckily, again, my mom and dad, my brother were so helpful, and same with my husband, but he was already, no, he wasn't already with us. He came, yes, he came, he had Monday off, so he came Sunday night. And so, and that's the other thing. Since my husband hasn't had weekends off consistently, whenever he does have time to come visit us, I don't want to just have to be packing. I want us to make sure that we have family quality time together before the move is over and before we're out of our apartment. And so that was always a priority to me as well. But like I said, on Monday when that rolled around, my husband, my brother, my mom, and dad, they were they were so kind, and they were so just they've they're just so generous with their time and with their effort, and they helped us pack up, they helped us load the cars up, and again they traveled back to their home. And unfortunately we still had some more items. It wasn't a whole lot, but we wouldn't be able to fit everything in that round. And so my mom had planned to come back on Thursday, which would have been the 31st, July 31st, because she would come back and get some of the last bigger item, not big items, but medium sized items, so that when my husband would come back um, on that following Friday, we would be able to fit everything in his car for the drive back for that weekend to move in with them. And so, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so Monday was really hectic because at 8:45 in the morning we had our visiting nurse from the Strong Families of Vermont and New Hampshire. I finally figured out what the name of that program was. I had been meaning to for a lot of the videos, but it's a program that we started through the Dartmouth Hitchcock Medical Center when you're new parents, and you have a visiting nurse that comes to meet your child at first it was multiple times a week, and then as the baby gets older it's once a month, and then sometimes it goes out every 2 months, and the older they get the less you see the visiting nurse. And so with this move, we knew that we weren't going to be seeing her, and that she would be transferring us to a nurse that would do the last leg of the time that we have visiting nurses, because the program goes from when they're 0 months all the way to 24 months. And so my daughter had just turned 17 months, so we only have, well, we have still a good solid chunk of time, but we won't be with the same nurse that we had. And so my husband and I, we got up early. We got up at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and we were starting to organize and pack and make sure that things were at least semi-ready, so that when my parents came right after the nurse visit, that we'd be able to load a good amount of things in their car. And so it was really nice to see our nurse, and like we feel like we've had such a deep connection with her because she's known us since the time of the birth, and she helped us through all of the beginning milestones as parents with our daughter. And it is really like heart-wrenching to leave her, but of course we'll still keep in touch with her and give her updates on Juniper, and hopefully she'll come out to visit us. And she has so much going on in her family life too. They were traveling nonstop. It looked like she had a nice tan, and her kids have been so busy with their events going on, and it's just been a busy summer in lots of good ways for all of us. And so it was really nice to catch up with her. And then she left around 11:15, and then my parents showed up like shortly after that at 11, and they stayed for a few hours and helping us get organized and get packed. And so they headed out around 3, I think. And again, I cannot thank my family enough for all the support that they've given to us throughout this move and this transition. And it will be so nice when we're finally settled. And we couldn't have done it without them. So if they watch this in the future, or I don't know, I just hope they know how much it's meant to me and my husband, and how much it will mean to my daughter in the future. And so on Tuesday the 29th, I was really excited because I was able to get to see my kindergarten colleagues that I got to teach with when I was first moved over here. And my colleague who I currently taught with this past year, she invited a colleague that had retired who was also a kindergarten teacher, and I just love her. And I love both of them, but being together with the two of them just brought back all the old memories, and it was so much fun. And I they have so much more. They're older than me, so they've been through all of the phases of life that I've gone through, whether I'm just talking about my own life, and then also talking about whether I'm a mother and balancing the two areas of your life with work and being a mom. And I just thoroughly enjoy their company. And I was really excited that my colleague invited the other colleague to come out with us. And so that was a nice surprise that happened. And it just made me so happy that I got to see the two of them before the move. And that the colleague that had retired got to meet my daughter. And so that was really fun. And that was the big highlight of Tuesday, the 29th. And then on Wednesday, the 30th, I was excited again. And again, I probably should have been doing more packing, but at this point, I felt like we were pretty much set. We did lots of moves. We were pretty much underway, and so I felt better making more plans to go out this week with friends and colleagues. And I actually got to go out to another breakfast with our neighbor, and I am so excited because I was hoping I'd get to see her at least 2 or 3 more times before we moved. And this was the second breakfast outing we went to, and we went to this bakery that makes really excellent breakfast. And they have this, they also do like cakes and muffins and other things. We didn't get those though, but we had really great omelets and eggs, and uh, a great hearty breakfast for all three of us. And it was so nice to get to talk to my neighbor. And I just think she's so inspiring. I think she is so strong, what she's been through with her husband and with herself as well. And she's had so much life experience and so many historical things that she's been alive for. Because I don't know if you've seen my other videos, she's 90 years old. And she's so calm and nothing rattles her. And being young and in a transition in my life right now, it's been nice to have that dependability, but also that just like even keel, calm nature that she has about herself. And I'm really gonna miss her. And a part of me just kicks myself that we hadn't made the time to be together more often throughout the 10 years that I've been here. But again, I have to keep remembering we were both going through different things. And I do feel like things happen for a reason. And I think that just the timing, so many parts of my life that have really been at the oddest timings. There I've seen and reflected on so many things that have happened at the time that I'm choosing to move, and at the time that I'm like ending my spot at my job within my colleagues, but also my community. And so it is interesting how that always happens, but maybe that's because it makes me grateful that I've been part of this community, and it's sending me away with little tidbits that I never knew about and that I'll appreciate even more knowing. At least that's what I'm telling myself. And so I was really excited, and I was really happy that we got to have another breakfast together. Um, and I just got to catch up with her. And she's been busy visiting her sisters and her grandkids and her great grandkids. And I love hearing her stories. And it's just, it's so peaceful whenever I'm with her. And she just fills me with so much joy. And so Thursday, the 31st, is when my mom came back over. Um, on Wednesday, after I got back from the breakfast with Juniper and our neighbor, I got back to packing, I got back to organizing, and this time it was just my mom that came over, and it was less stressful. We had less stuff for her to load up in the car, and this was the trip that made things more challenging. We loaded the car seat, we took apart the playpen and took apart the high chair. No, not the car seat, the high chair I meant. And she took some of the blankets and the towels and the linens and all this other like random little things. But it always builds up in the bags, and so it was just really great, and it was less stressful. We got to really catch up together and enjoy each other's company, and she got to play with Juniper and I got to organize, and then she got her exercise in because she's always someone that needs to move, and she was going and taking things down, up and down the flights of stairs, and so it was just a really, that was one of the most peaceful moving days because it was just not as stressful. And so that was on the 31st. And then on, oh, 31st, after my mom left with that part of the moving, there was really nothing in the house to eat. And also, without the high chair for Juniper to eat in, it's hard to feed her. And so I decided to go out to dinner, and I took her to this Turkish restaurant, and it's called the Tucker Box, and I haven't been there in forever since I gave birth, and so I really wanted to go to that restaurant one more time before we left. And so I packed up Juniper, I packed up her little bag that we bring all of her baby supplies in, and we went out. And before we went out, I had tried to invite my other district colleague, who's a friend who teaches kindergarten as well, but she had been traveling throughout the summer. She was also in a play at the end of the school year, and I just hadn't gotten to connect to her. And unfortunately, she had different dinner plans that evening, and so I was kind of bummed, but I understood. Everyone has busy lives, and so when we got to the restaurant, we sat down, and little to my surprise, if that is that the saying, but anyway, my friend who said she had different dinner plans was meeting the group of people that were sitting behind us. And so that was really hysterical. And she was so personable. She came to say hi, and we were so happy we got to hug each other one more time before we left, or before we moved. And so that was really good. And I was just so happy to see her. And it was nice for her to come see Juniper for a few minutes and give us that little moment before she went to visit with her friends that she had the dinner plans with. And so it all worked out, and I did get to see her one last time before the move, and that's all I was asking for, which I'm thankful that was happening in the universe. So that was great. And then Juniper did a really good job coloring. My mom had gotten her these crayons in this coloring book that she's been using whenever we go to restaurants, and it's been a lifesaver. And so but after an hour, usually it's an hour mark, and so I took my food to go, and we went home, and we had just a peaceful night. And then, which leaves us to, so that was Thursday the 31st, and then is today, yeah, so today is August 1st, which is Friday. For some reason, I'm thinking that it's Saturday, but yeah, so today is August 1st. It's my brother's birthday, and he always has this tradition with my mom that they go on this hiking trail that is called Rattlesnake Point, and they look over these cliffs and they see the lake that we grew up on. And so they did do that for his birthday, and I feel bad that my husband and me and my daughter are not at my parents' place to help celebrate with him, but we'll be going over tomorrow where we'll celebrate again, and he'll have a whole birthday weekend to celebrate. And so that happened. And what was I doing this morning? I was doing, oh yeah, Juniper and I were doing loads and loads of errands. We had to go to the post office to make sure that they would hold our mail until our P.O. box was set up to receive mail on the other side of where we're moving. And we also had to talk to she's not our landlord, but she acts like a landlord within our building. And I was getting worried because I had to spackle and paint different parts of our apartment because they got little nicks in it. And so we had to make sure everything was put back the way we had it and fixed before we got here. And I did the spackling, and I was about to do the sanding, and then all of a sudden I realized I was opening the closet in the hallway, and we didn't have the paint. We had the paint, but it was hard as a rock, or it just wasn't the right ones that we needed. And so I let her know, and luckily she called the landlord and explained the situation. And so I was really overwhelmed because I'm like, how am I going to find the right color? I'm going to have to go out. It's going to take forever, especially loading my daughter up. And it all turned out that I didn't have to do that. They were going to repaint the bedroom a different color anyway. So they were going to wait for the new tenants to come in and see what colors they would like and what colors that they would fit with the landlord's choice. And so that was a huge weight that was lifted off of me. And I was also very strung out in the morning because even though we're now in August 1st, I had not gotten all of the items off of my school laptop. And so this morning, that's what I was doing early in the morning at like 5. I was starting to go through all the email, make sure I had all of my professional development certificates, make sure I had all of my pictures downloaded and saved so that I have them for my personal computer and memories. And my daughter luckily slept. She was up a lot, like from midnight to 3, but she slept really nicely from 3 to 8 and maybe 8:30. And so I was able to get a lot done. And and then we got up, we had a nice egg sandwich breakfast, we had fruit, and then I got her entertained and I tried to get some more stuff done with my technology with the school. But I was supposed to meet my friend who was the librarian at the school, and I was so excited to meet her because I hadn't seen her since the beginning of the summer when we went to the uh, Heartland Library, and she had recorded me reading to Juniper for one of her courses. And she's just someone that has just a calm disposition. She's so gentle and she's so loving and she's so compassionate, and I just love being in her energy. And I was really looking forward to seeing her, but there was not enough time in the day, and it was the day before we had to move out. So I had to cancel, which I was really disappointed about. But it turned out that she had overbooked herself too. Now, I'm not sure if she said that to make me feel better or if that was actually true. But I know that she had just come back from dropping off a family member at an airport. So I know that she was tired either way, and so I'm just happy it worked out for both of us, and I really hope that we get to see each other in the future sometime. And so sometime soon, hopefully in the fall, because I'm gonna miss not having her so close by. But she was very understanding, and because she's the tech person at the school, she was like, don't worry about it, you should be able to, even though like I got everything off the physical computer and I was handing that in, I still had so much to get off of my drive from the school system to put it on my personal computer. And so she was like, I'm sure you can keep doing that, and they won't, your time's not going to be out and you're not going to get locked out. And so she was very comforting throughout that whole process. And when I finally did, Juniper came with me. When I finally did drop off my computer in the school office, I also went to the summer program that a lot of my students and my past students were in. So I got to say goodbye to them. I also have neighbors who, the mom of the neighbors across the street, I had her 2 kids in 2nd grade, and she was running this year the summer program, which was really fun. And I got to catch up with her, and Juniper got to see all the students that I used to teach, and that was really fun for her. And then that's when we then went over to the post office, and we went back home. We got food, we ate lunch, and that's when our other type of landlord and my friend, she helped us out with figuring out the paint situation. And my husband was going to be home later that night, and so to help do the rest of the loading in his car, it would be the last trip. And so that was really stress relieving for me because, like I said, I have a stuffy nose, my head is congested, well, my chest is congested, my head feels full, and so it's probably the stress from the move. So I was just really grateful to see my husband. It was really nice. We went out to this really nice restaurant that we don't go to very often because it is on the upscale end, but it was a night to celebrate our last night out here and to be a family. And it was so it was so wonderful, and I'm just so appreciative that we got to have that dinner together. And then we came back, and he was like so fast and efficient. He got lots of things loaded up. He put light bulbs in that the tall places that needed to be put in. He got everything loaded so much faster than I could have done. And it's also easier having two people, because one person can watch our child and the other person can keep going, where we don't feel guilty that way. I always felt guilty when I was by myself to not be with my child and giving them attention. And so I would always take breaks, but I still, even though I took breaks, I still felt guilty. But this way we were both able to be effective. And so I finally got to catch up my month of July updates, and it feels really good. And I've been wanting to do it for quite some time. Um, and on the way home tonight, oh, I forgot to say, when I was seeing my colleagues, what day was it? It was the Tuesday? I can't remember. It was Tuesday, July 29th. At the end of the time when we were taking pictures outside, I saw the license plate 999, which again is talking about ending of chapters and new beginnings, which is perfectly fitting. And on the way home tonight, with our last night out with my husband from dinner, I saw the license plate 888, which again means abundance. And you can look at that as the abundance of your relationships. You can look at the abundance of your opportunities coming to you, or the abundance of I don't know, material items or prosperity. And so whatever life has in store for us in the next phase of our life, I'm really excited for that. And I just hope that sharing these stories can bring anyone else out there who's listening some contentment and some, I don't know, distraction from anything that can cause anxiety within the world that we live in today. And I don't know. I love you all, and I hope you're all taking care, and I hope to see you in the next video. And the next video will be probably in my parents', yeah, most definitely will be in my parents' house. And then pretty soon, when we get settled, the next videos will be in our permanent house for the time being. So that will be awesome. I love you all. Take care and have a wonderful rest of your night.